everybody. Welcome again to Perspectives of Change. I'm your host, Sarika Kharbanda, and today we bring you an extremely different and an extremely special topic yet again. We call it Connect Learning with Practice in the Management 3.0 community. And for this amazing topic, we have a special guest who is a community builder at Management 3.0. We have Sara Ramos. Have I pronounced your surname correctly?
It's Ramos. So, or in Portuguese, no, I said it with an English accent. I don't know why. So I'll say it in Portuguese now. It's Sara Ramos. So, but it's fine. If it's Ramos, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Awesome. Okay, I wouldn't have been able to do the Portuguese pronunciation. I figured I was like, okay, I'm glad I didn't try. I would have totally messed it up. So welcome, Sara. Welcome to Perspectives of Change.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure to be here with you. As I said, I'll take any opportunity to talk to you for an hour. So yeah.
Likewise. So I'd love for our listeners to and viewers to, have a amazing introduction of you, which is why I'm not going to introduce you and I want you to introduce yourself, and let's begin from there and then we dive into the topic.
Yeah. So I usually like to introduce myself as a lifelong learner, because I think that's the biggest description or most relevant description of myself. That's that desire to learn, that passion to learn and grow, and curiosity to do that. That's what's guided me in my career, my personal life. So that's how I would introduce myself. And maybe if I give a bit more details around like the practical stuff. So as you introduced myself, I'm the community builder Management 2.0, and that happened a little bit by chance, because I was experimenting with another community, and we can talk about it later. And I was doing that on the side of my learning, design, and facilitation jobs and works as a freelancer. And then actually Nadine, who maybe our listeners may know, from the person who's behind the Management 3.0 LinkedIn page, which surely some people have interacted with, she found me on LinkedIn. And that's how my journey with Management 2.0 started. So it's pretty much by chance. And that's why I say that this curiosity and desire to learn is what guided me here and in any of my past roles, for sure.
Sorry, I was just thinking, this is amazing. I mean, I was literally wondering, I actually didn't know that this was the approach in which you reached out, or Management 3.0 actually found you. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. That's some new story that I'm hearing right now. Interesting. Okay, but tell me, what led you to starting to build this community of Management 3.0 the way it is today? And of course, I'm part of the community, and I will call it out. I am not an active member like your other members in the community. And I almost always want to say, oh my God, I'm so guilty of this. But it is a beautiful community. And you and I have always connected on that point, right, Sara? So yes, give us a bit of a backdrop on, the context of the Management 3.0 community and, how it's organized. Let's start with that. And then hopefully I'll, get questions.
Yeah. So first I want to say there's no guilt for not being involved. So I always say there isn't one right way to be part of the Management 2.0 community. And that's actually a big effort that we're doing right now to reduce that guilt that a lot of people feel for not being involved. But we'll get there when we get there. Mm-hmm. So what was the thinking behind the Management 2.0 community? As our listeners and viewers may know, Management 3.0 is all about redefining leadership. So we bring tools and the mindset to equip leaders or anyone in organizations to really look at leadership in a different way, to redistribute that responsibility. So we have practical tools like the delegation poker, the change management game, like the moving motivators. These are maybe names that our listeners and viewers may know. And we have beautiful, great workshops that you are a facilitator for as well. What we didn't have was a place for people to keep practicing after they did those workshops, or after they read a blog on the website, or they followed the LinkedIn page. So we didn't have a space to gather people and to help them practice what they were learning. Because practice or learning without practice doesn't stick.
True.
We need the practice, we need the behavior, particularly when we are going through a mindset shift, which is what Management 2.0 suggests us. It's very hard to change your mindset, to change your ways when you are in systems that don't reward that. And so we created this space, the Management 2.0 community, as a space, again, that rewards that change, that rewards the things that people are doing in their day-to-day life to redefine leadership, to redistribute it, to engage teams, to contribute to happiness at work. And so that was the thinking behind it. Yeah.
Awesome. Really cool. But tell us a little more on how is this organized now? So is it just you holding the ship, or did you start this and now, you know where I'm going with this? I mean, I just want you to unfold the organization of the community.
Yeah.
You kickstarted it, but now where?
Yeah. So we kickstarted it almost 2 years ago. And in practical terms, we have an online platform that is not a social media space. It's separate. And in that space, we gather our members. People can ask questions, share advice, share what they are doing. And then we have live events that happen once a month, where people can, one of them is the practice session. So we literally get together to practice, to play with one of the Management 2.0 tools. And the other one is the leadership gym. So that is, like we call it, a place to flex your leadership muscles. And we usually have a theme, or we always have a theme, and people bring their challenges and everyone comes up with solutions for those challenges. So this, in practical terms, that's how it works. And now I'm trying to remember your question. Oh yeah, about the team. So yes, I was the one who kickstarted it, and obviously with a lot of support from the Management 2.0 core team. I'm not doing this alone. I'm only the responsible person for this project, and it was a challenge. I'm not going to lie. It's a big project to manage alone, but it's an interesting paradox, because when you're building a community alone, it's strange, because community alone doesn't make sense. And so I had to bring along the team. But obviously they have other challenges, they have other things they're doing, other projects. We're a very small team for the amount of work that we do. We're all part-time, we're all freelancers, so it's really hard. And so I reached a point where I thought, okay, I really want to take this community to the next level. And I found someone to help me as a sort of extended team for the community. And so now I'm working with Carla Santos. So it's someone that is amazing and that I love working with. And she is supporting with like the strategic thinking and the everyday stuff with the community. The other thing we're doing now to kind of extend the team is bringing the community members along. So that's something we've been experimenting a little bit for 2 years, but I think now we're getting to a point where, okay, I think we know what we're doing now. So we have a team that hosts this leadership gyms that I mentioned. So there's 3 people who are in charge of that. So it's Dana Anka, Juan Batista, I'm blanking, and Amid Peled, who is also a Management 2.0 facilitator. And so they are hosting those spaces. And now we are experimenting with another type of involvement. We created the Movers and Hyper Squad. So this is a group of people, select a group of people who are more engaged in the community that will help with, bringing energy and enthusiasm and activity to the community. And this is we're keeping it to a short engagement. So it's like a month, a short engagement, and then we'll see how it goes. So in short, we are experimenting with a lot of different ways to involve the community. Now I have extra support for the big thinking, strategic thinking that is very hard to do alone. And yes, I started it with the help of the team, and now we're trying new things.
Well, I like the fact that you're rolling with it actually. And I have my reasons to say that because I see a lot of stuff happening in the community. Even if I'm not an active participant, passively, I keep, seeing what's happening. And I'm like, oh my God, this is really awesome. And that's why I feel more guilty. Oh my God, I'm missing a lot of that fun and learning that's happening. Of course, you record a lot of stuff and we can all go and watch it too, but it's not the same, right? Being engaged and doing things together is always different than being a passive, observer of, oh, I missed this, let me watch it, because there's some things you can only do hands-on. But here's what I'm driving with. I love the fact that, you've put this whole platform for learning and practice, because that's what a lot of, people globally have been missing. And you've got like thousands and thousands of learners on this platform, right, Sara? So I'm just wondering, what kind of a challenge are you seeing right now? Not really from, in building that community, because I've been involved in a number of communities. And the biggest challenge that most community people tell me is, to keep these learners coming back for more. How do you manage that challenge, or how do you balance it off with something else? I have no idea, but tell me more.
Yeah. So the first thing I'll say is when I say the Management 2.0 community, this is a private space that we created separate from, the wider audience of Management 2.0. So definitely the wider audience of Management 2.0, that is in the thousands. In this smaller community that I'm talking about, more it's cozier. It's supposed to be a place for people to build connections. We have around 350 people, so it's much smaller. However, the challenge that you shared, definitely, it's super hard to keep people's attentions, to really compete with everything else that happens in their lives. And that's why I started by saying that there isn't one way to be a part of the community. So you might only have 5 minutes a month, and all you do is go in and like a post, and that's your engagement. Or maybe you have half an hour and you get to, post a proper article or a share of, I shouldn't call it article, like publish a post like you would do on LinkedIn, for example, but you share it in the community to celebrate something that went well, or share a challenge and get support. But if you can be more engaged, maybe you can host a session. So there's none of these are better or worse than the previous one. And so the way we are trying to tackle this challenge of getting people's attentions, inviting them to come back and be present, I think it's twofold. First, making it as clear as possible what is happening and how they can be involved. So when do the events happen? What are the different groups in the platform for? So this kind of things, clarity is super important, because I think we've all experienced this when we enter a new space, digital or not, and we look around and we're like, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do here. I'm going to leave. So we're trying to avoid that. So that's the first thing. The second one, which we're still trying, we're actually building it, not even trying yet, is find ways for people to reflect on how much time they have. So as I was saying, do I have 5 minutes or I have an hour? And give them those options. And then create some commitment that is not commitment to someone else, but a commitment to themselves. So I said that this month I had 5 minutes or half an hour. And so I'm going to keep that commitment to myself. And we're not sure how we're going to remind people of that without creating even more pressure and guilt. But that is the other mechanism system that we are thinking about.
Nice. I like the whole piece of commitment to self, which is actually driving me to think, great, we've built a community here. How are you differentiating it with, I'm not saying similar in the sense that there are other Management 3.0 communities, but because we're talking of redefining leadership and, today's social media and the world is a stage today. So it's accessible, right? So how is this community differentiating itself from other global communities, online communities out there?
Yeah, I love that question. Because we use the word community for a lot of things nowadays, and that's fine. That's okay. And when I say community in this case, and that's why earlier I also clarified that this is a smaller community. So as opposed to, let's say, LinkedIn, this is a place where I hope people will feel no judgment, that they will feel safe and brave to share their challenges. So they are not performing like in most social media. That's what we do. That's okay. It's visible, it's public. We have different layers and different personas in the different spaces that we're in. That's okay. I'm not criticizing, but when we share on LinkedIn, we're always a little bit performing, a little bit showing the best version of ourselves, even when we are admitting to a challenge.
True.
Here in our community, the Management 3.0 community, and in other communities, this is supposed to be a space to meet like-minded people in the judgment-free space, and to really have the time and the attention and the focus to practice with new tools and skills, to follow a more structured path than on social media. Social media is sort of a cascade of information, and now you need to deal with it. So here, this is guided, it's managed, it's moderated. So I hope this will be a space that people feel more focused and that they can really, take advantage of their curiosity, but in a, controlled, this is what we do here. This is our values. These are our values. I think that's a huge difference from social media, at least these days. It can be a lot to deal with. I've called them haters. Because sometimes that's how it feels, because it's not a constructive conversation. We have constructive conversations. We disagree in the community, but it's not about just criticizing and attacking others. In the community, in the Management 2.0 community, and in any community that has guidelines, we have these shared values. And that helps a lot with creating this safe space and the focus and all the other things that I shared.
Awesome. No, really cool. Love that. Yeah, safety of people is important. And I love the cohesiveness that you're building this community with. So kudos to that. I am now thinking, even if it's like an online, of course, it's an online platform. I know because I'm using it, using a certain platform tool technology. Are you do you want to just share, what kind of tools and technologies are you enabling this whole community with? Because that's obviously key to an online platform, right?
Yes, 100%. Actually, it's really exciting that you asked me that question, because we are in the process of changing our community platform. And that is something I'm very excited about.
Nice.
Because it will make the members' lives easier and my life easier. So there's a selfish reason there as well. So in terms of tools, now we're moving to Circle, which other people, our listeners and viewers may know. It's very common in other communities. Mm-hmm. So we're moving to Circle, and that is our home. So that is where the action happens, in the sense of where the posts go, where the calendar is, where you can sign up for events, where the recordings are. So this is our hub. And then we use Zoom for our calls, so the same one that we are now talking through. And we use Miro a lot. So this virtual, big, never-ending virtual whiteboard, we use that a lot because our sessions are interactive. So we don't have one-directional sessions. We used to have them. We decided to stick to the true value of being together, which is doing things together. Mm-hmm. And so we use Miro a lot for that. I think that's it. Oh, actually, no, there's one more super important one. So there's one program that I didn't mention. We have what we call the Match program. So this is we use a different system that connects members once a month so one member with another member for a one-to-one conversation. and people can sign up for it. It's not auto opt-in. People need to want to be a part of this. And so for that, we use the software called Matcha. So that's another tool we use.
Awesome. I think just for our viewers and listeners, I'm just going to say that out loud. So we will place some links anyways about Management 3.0, the community. If you want to be a part of it, read more. A lot of it is also there on the website. So I'm hoping to place all of that in the show notes. So please do grab that later. Just wanted to interject at this point and, Sara, just give that a mention.
Thank you. Yes, please.
And that leads me to another question. You've got people, awesome people in the community. You've got community guidelines governing this, which obviously is not a one and done thing. It keeps evolving and improving,
of course,
as you grow the community. And we just spoke about tools and technology. Now, I'm curious, how do you measure the success of this community? Well, we're all about measurement, right, in our heads. So we have to measure something because we obviously want to be guided. Are we moving in the right direction? So how do you measure that, and how do you guide yourselves together, of the direction that you guys are taking?
Yeah. So I will be very honest with you. This is something we are still figuring out and experimenting with. So it's very easy to look at the most visible things. So number of posts, likes, event attendance, number of members in the community, that we can look at all of that. We can look at retention rate. And we do look at those things. But we are adding an extra layer and questioning, are these the relevant things to be looking at? So let's take an example of number of posts. We know, or activity, general activity in the community. We know our members are super busy people who have a lot of different things pulling their attention because they are leaders. They are people who are managing other people or managing systems and not just other people, but they have responsibility, added responsibility. And that means that the time that is left for posting in the community, engaging in the community, is very small. So why would we add a metric and create initiatives to increase that metric that will create an extra burden on our members? So that's the kind of thinking that we're going through now. How do we make this relevant to the purpose of the community and to our members? And so instead of looking at those more visible metrics, I'm more now focusing on impact and qualitative information. So member stories. What kind of impact that people are sharing that they are having in their organization, in their teams? Do they write to me or write in the community saying, I tried this and it worked and I'm so happy? Why isn't happiness one of our metrics, right? How do you measure happiness? That's a different question. But, so we're focusing more on impact, making a difference, and less on number of posts, activity, etc. And actually, yesterday I was watching a video from a community expert, Carrie Melissa Jones, that I follow and I love her work. And she was talking about three levels of measurement. So we have the activity level. I should start below. Activity level, which is this. So number of things that are happening. Then the health of the community. So are people having the impact that they want? Do they feel welcomed, etc.? And then outcomes. And usually when we say outcomes, this is more business outcomes. And so this was a really good way for me to frame and realize, maybe I'm focusing too much here on the activity and I'm forgetting to look maybe at the health and outcomes, which is what matters in the community, because we don't gather just to be together. We gather to achieve something, and this achieve something, that's what we need to measure.
Oh, I love that. I love that thinking, because it is so Management 3.0 thinking, right? That's exactly what we talk about with our principles and all the thinking and the mindset behind it. So love that totally. And yeah, I mean, I think you're just being authentic by saying, yeah, we're experimenting with what we have right now, and this is where we are, this is where we want to be. Or, yeah, and just check in on your direction, maybe on some periodic basis, right? Which is really cool.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay. I was so engrossed listening to your approach, and yeah, this is really good. Okay, maybe something else that pops into my head right now. You did mention a number of challenges, and I'm curious, not on the challenges side, but personally, how satisfying is it for you? You being Sara, for you, how satisfying is this journey? Tell us a little more from your personal journey perspective.
It is very satisfying to get members' feedback. So I can give you a specific example. I was sending invites out to some of the members to be part of this Movers and Hyper Squad that I mentioned earlier. And I really wanted to get their attention. And so I wrote an email, I made a video so that people, if they didn't want to read, they could watch. And it was a lot of work. Satisfying work, but a lot of work to do that, like a video for like 15 people. It was a lot of work. But I was very, pumped to do it. And I sent it and I was already happy. But then I started getting the answers of people saying, oh, I'm so happy you did this, like the video and the email. I'm so honored to be invited. People sharing feedback of like the steps that I asked them to take, like, oh, maybe this is not the best. Can we do that? And all of a sudden, I have this group of people who were super engaged and excited, and they were sending me kudo cards. So that was like, how satisfying is that?
Beautiful, yeah.
Yeah. So definitely this understanding that, yes, I'm doing a good job. Everyone wants to feel that, but also that the community is having an impact in these people's lives. That is incredibly satisfying. Then obviously you have the more boring things, like, fiddling around with tools that don't work and doing events sometimes very late in my time zone to make sure we reach everyone. That can be a bit less ideal. But then when I'm there, I'm satisfied because everyone is happy to be there. So, this energy that I get from the members is the most satisfying thing.
Beautiful, totally beautiful. Yeah, it is very heartwarming to hear all of that, and I can fully resonate with you there. Okay, so I have two more things that are coming in my head right now. But maybe I'm going to leave. Yeah, I was thinking I'll ask you this question first, but I'm going to flip the questions.
Okay.
So if you had to say anything else about the Management 3.0 community that you are so filling it up with all your energy, love, affection, and everything else that is, almost your heart and soul going into the building of it, if you had to say a few words for the community, what would you say?
So for the Management 3.0 community?
Maybe give me a one-liner, a phrase, or, something catchy. I just thought of it. I hadn't thought.
Yeah.
I'm curious now. Or maybe let me rephrase the question. How would you define the Management 3.0 community that you have nurtured with all this love, affection, heart and soul of yours, along with the other members in it, of course, who are helping you nurture and take this forward? How would you define this community in a phrase, in a sentence, or a paragraph, whatever comes out from your heart right now?
Yeah, I know exactly what to say. I'm not saying it just because we did a big piece of research and we came up with a tagline that we've shared with the members, and I'm still waiting for feedback. And so I'm like, do I say it? Do I not say it? But in the spirit of experimentation, I will say it, and then maybe when this episode comes out, it will be completely different. But the people on the other side can also see how experimental it can be, how trying and testing things is essential for community building, how feedback is essential for community building. So let's model that. So I would say that this is a space for difference makers to make a difference. So people who want to have an impact in the system they're a part of, be it their teams, their organizations, their families, their group of friends, this people who want to have this impact, to have the curiosity and focus to go after new tools, new skills, to go after people who they feel comfortable enough around to share their challenges. So this is how I would describe the community.
Awesome. Love it. Totally love it. Yeah. And you're probably right. By the time, this podcast is out, yeah, who knows? Maybe we should ask you that question when we put this out, into LinkedIn or other social media.
Yeah.
Is it now, Sara? Tell us, has it changed?
Yes, and our listeners and viewers can also go to our landing page and be curious, like, what's the tagline there now? Is it the one she said or not?
True. Which brings me to yet another question. What's your advice, for people maybe who want to start an online community like this special one that you've now co-created? Yeah, let me put that. You've co-created it with people now. So what's your maybe 2 or 3 nuggets of advice that you can leave us with?
Well, the first one, and it can be a bit cliche, but it's true. It's just do it. Like, if you want to do it, the only thing you need is one extra person that wants to do it with you, because it's a community. It's a bit weird that you have a community with yourself. So I would say find one other person to do it. And I often refer to this video that maybe you've seen, How to Make a Movement. Have you watched this TED Talk called How to Make a Movement?
Oh yeah, of course. The leaders.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So this I think it illustrates community building pretty well. So it only takes one person to start dancing in a mountain. So figuratively, start dancing in a mountain, creating a community, having a desire to do something together. And there will be one person who will follow. And then you'll together dance in the top of the mountain. And then more people will see you dancing and they will want to join you. So this is why I say just do it. Find another person with a desire, a group of people, small group of people with a desire to do it. And define, okay, how do we want to do it? What are the guidelines? What's the working agreement that we have between us? What is the topic that we want to gather around? Whatever it is. And then make an invitation for the wider world. Do you want to join us or not? Or maybe you keep it small, I don't know. But make an invitation. And as we make an invitation, as you put things in the world, you'll start getting feedback, you'll start understanding if it resonates with other people. And then the cycle continues. You keep learning and testing and seeing if it works. So yeah, that would be my biggest piece of advice.
Totally love it. Totally love it. Yeah, I think I'm getting more and more overwhelmed as I continue talking with you, Sara, right now, because I think
I hope that's a good thing.
It is so awesome. I mean, it's so heartwarming to. I think it's also because I'm biased. It's a community I'm part of, and like I said, I am guilty of not being a part of it completely. But given that I know how things have been happening and how you've been shaping it, I think just to hear that directly right now from you is very heartwarming. And my full kudos to you and the team to get it to where it is today. Thank you. And I do want to say, I personally, being a Management 3.0 trainer myself, I want to say that I can see Management 3.0 principles in action with whatever you've been saying. I can see co-creation at work. I can see improving the system. I mean, the 5 principles. So people, this is beautiful. So kudos to the whole community for, getting it to where it is and putting in all the love efforts and everything into it. So it's really, really nice.
Thank you, Sarika. Yes, I appreciate that. And I can't wait for us to share this conversation and to share it with the members. And I hope they will feel the same that you are feeling, like, yeah, we are building something amazing together.
Indeed. And with that, I want to thank you, Sara, for being on Perspectives of Change. It's really amazing to get this very different perspective. I mean, from a community perspective, the approach you've taken, starting off as one and still saying, yes, I'm building a community. And then, bringing more people along with you on this amazing journey, being true to the principles that you at Management 3.0 are bringing to life for the globe. I think it's really awesome to see a lot of that in action, and it's very visible. And if people want to know, of course, more about this community, I will point you to the community landing page in the show notes yet again. So please do remember to jump onto it. And Sara and I are both human. If you have any questions, feel free to write directly to Sara. I will place her LinkedIn profile link also in the show notes. And of course, you can reach out to me too, and we will definitely respond. And thank you all for viewing and listening this podcast. And I will see you yet again on another show with another awesome perspective and another awesome speaker. Once again, thank you, Sara, and I hope to see you again.
Thank you, Sarika. Thank you, everyone, for listening.